my name is Hailey and I'm one of the Sales and Customer Success Managers for Huddo Boards. I'm based in Melbourne, Australia, and I look after our Huddo Boards customers in Australia, Asia, New Zealand, South America, and parts of North America, depending on where they're located and if the time zone is agreeable. You have my email address up on the screen right now, hailey@huddo.com. So if at any point following today's presentation you'd like to get in touch, please do so. Okay, so we've got actually quite a bit to get through today, so we will jump straight in. So I'll come to Huddo Boards in a nutshell in just a second, but to give you an overview of what to expect in today's webinar, I'm going to show you some of the key views that you can expect to see in Huddo Boards that will help you organize and efficiently work through your collaborative tasks. We'll build out one of the many case studies that Huddo Boards can be used for. And we'll look at different functionality of Huddo Boards and give you some tips on getting the best experience from boards. I'll also show you some of the Microsoft integrations that can definitely make your life easier, and I'll answer any questions that you have. So if you do have questions, please pop them in the question box and we'll get to as many questions as we can at the end of the session. If you would like to contact us afterwards, as you saw before, you had my email address, hailey@huddo.com, but you can also reach us on hello@huddo.com if you'd like to ask anything specific, organize a demo for your organization or a free trial. Please use that email address, hello@huddo.com, to reach out. So Huddo Boards in a nutshell. It's your visual task and project management application for managing your day-to-day tasks and priorities or working with colleagues on joint projects. Huddo Boards helps you to stay organized with lists and cards to break down your projects and tasks, manage your workload across multiple boards or project areas, track progress of tasks, see what is not yet started, what's underway, held up or completed. Delegate tasks to team members to share the workload, see what's important with color labels and tags to filter on, see what your team members are working on, great for team leaders, supervisors or project leads. Keep important information like discussions, files, comments easy to find so you don't have to go digging through your emails. And you can flip through to any different view at any point when you're using Huddo Boards. So you may start working in the board Kanban view, and then you might flip over to a mind map, timeline or activity view, depending on how your project develops, changes, or if you wanted to get a different perspective. So accessing Huddo Boards. You can access boards by the website, boards.huddo.com. Or if you prefer, you can come through to our website, huddo.com, and you'll see on all of our pages that you have the Huddo Boards login and the Try Huddo Boards buttons. So either of these will take you to the Huddo Boards login page, whether you're a returning user or a new user starting a free trial. You can click either of these buttons to access. So when you do that, you'll see the options to select the Office 365 as your login method. Alternative methods are also available, including Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, your Apple ID, or HCL connections. You can also add Huddo Boards as an app in the Microsoft Teams App Store. So navigate to the apps area, type in Huddo Boards, and then click the icon and follow the prompts. But we'll have more on accessing Huddo Boards via Microsoft Teams later. So if you're wondering who can use Huddo Boards, the answer, very broadly speaking, is anyone at any level of a business. When we talk about Huddo Boards, you can use it for personal use, personal task management, for managing your day-to-day tasks. You can use it at a team level for working on team tasks and projects that involve multiple business units and stakeholders, or it can be used to work with invited external parties. So that might be contractors, vendors or suppliers, consultants. And when I speak with users trialing Huddo Boards, I like to ask, can you think of 3 things you're working on now that would benefit from visual task management with a tool like Huddo Boards? So most people can think of at least a handful of tasks or projects straight away that would benefit from having Huddo Boards being used to manage it. So underpinning these 3 different elements or perspectives of Huddo Boards, the personal, team and invited external party use, is the ease of using Huddo Boards in your current digital workspace. So whether that's in Microsoft Teams or via the web with the connection into your Microsoft 365 apps like Outlook, OneDrive, SharePoint and Microsoft Power Automate, Huddo Boards fits in there really nicely. Huddo Boards can be used for any aspect of business or organisation, and with its simple drag and drop approach to task and project management, similar to that of the sticky note approach, it can be adopted by a broad range of stakeholders at any business level. So here you're seeing on the screen a couple of the different ways that Huddo Boards can be used, or different project areas: event management, sales tracking, customer support, employee onboarding, strategic planning, team tasks, idea creation, presentation planning. The list is endless. These are just a couple of the ways that you can use Huddo Boards, but it's certainly not limited to just these uses. So as I said, Huddo Boards helps you to visualize your tasks, keep track of their progress and ensure that you and your team don't miss anything important. You can see your tasks or project in multiple views depending on how you like to visualize your work. This is the Kanban board view. You may have used a similar style of task management with sticky notes or post-it notes, manually moving the notes between lists. You can use the same approach in the board view with your sticky notes, or cards as we call them, moving between lists as they progress and near completion. You can give them a color label to represent the stage of progress in the project. You can record specific details like due dates, assign them to team members and much more, which we'll look at shortly. And the good thing about ditching your sticky notes, this dynamic view is visible to any of the members in your board anytime, anywhere. So no need to worry about being in the same room to figure out where everyone is up to and what needs attention. In our right-hand menu, you can see here that under board we've got also the option to view by assignments, which we're looking at now, and also to-dos by date. Same Kanban sticky note approach, just revisualizing our projects and tasks by assignment based on which team member is doing what, or by due dates. So when are we tackling these tasks? Are they overdue? Are we getting them done today, tomorrow, later this week or into the future? All of this is done with a really simple drag and drop, so it makes it nice and easy for new users to come on board with Huddo. Next we have our mind map view, which is great for brainstorming, planning, getting a big picture view of your project. All of my information from the Kanban board view is here in the mind map, so I can make sure I'm getting a holistic view of my project and how it's progressing. So here we can customize our view to see the mind map in different layouts as well, including radial, vertical and horizontal. And Huddo Boards updates in real time, so if you have multiple members working on a board at the same time, you'll see cards and lists growing before your eyes as members participate and contribute to the board. I love using mind maps and watching our brainstorming sessions, priority planning, weekly stand-up, because everything is growing before my eyes. Our timeline view helps you to see your tasks planned out against a calendar. So whether you're organising jobs across a team, bringing together a range of contributors on a project, or planning out your own to-dos and how they'll fit into your daily schedule, the timeline is a great visual for seeing the planning stage, progression of tasks and the time frame that you'll need to allocate. It also allows you to anticipate any bottlenecks or challenges. Here we're looking at the timeline view with our lists on the left-hand side in blue and our tasks placed against the timeline, running from single days to multiple days. The tasks or cards that don't have a start and end date are sitting in unscheduled cards. So you've just seen me drag a couple of them onto the timeline. This view allows us to see the timeline with different swim lanes as well. So I'm looking at this view with our lists in left in blue on the, our lists were in blue on the left. I've now switched over to the color labels so I can see what's important, what are the challenges in progress based on my color labels, or we can also see based on assignment as well. So who's doing what and when, and how is the workload falling across the team. Our activity view provides a simple list view to view your tasks and information in a linear form, similar to what you might find in your to-do list in your notebook. All of your information is here, but in a simple drop-down list, so you can expand the list to see all of your tasks and more information like their color labels, who they're assigned to, and if they've been completed. As with any of the other views, you can drag and drop your lists and cards around the activity view, assign colors, members, and more. And like our Kanban board view, the activity view also allows you to view by assignment, who's doing what task, and also by due date. So before we jump into our use case for today, you'll be pleased to know that Huddo Boards is integrated with a number of important Microsoft applications, including Microsoft Teams, Outlook, OneDrive, and more. If you're on a free trial of Huddo Boards or have purchased a license, please make sure you take advantage of these integrations so you can get the best experience out of Huddo Boards. And you'll see some of these integrations in our use case. So let's jump right into our use case for today, and I'm going to move across to Microsoft Teams. Okay, so in our Huddo Boards use case, we're looking at creating a board that will help multiple business areas manage product improvement tasks for one of our applications. We'll use this board to track requests from both our customers and internal stakeholders for changes or improvements to our application. We'll see those requests progress based on their priority. We'll be able to keep track of the conversation that happens around each of those tasks, and we'll see who across the team is working on each of them and what actions are being taken. So let's get started. And to do that, let's go straight to the basics of creating a board. So I'm doing this in Microsoft Teams. However, you can any board that you want to create that can be done in Microsoft Teams, you can also do it via the web as well at boards.huddo.com, as you saw earlier. Today I'm going to get started in Microsoft Teams, and to do that, you saw earlier that I could add Huddo Boards as an app in the Teams App Store. So I've done that, and just as a quick tip, it's really handy if you can pin. So I've right-clicked and you'll see mine's already pinned, but if you pin this to the side, you'll be able to quickly and easily access Huddo Boards at any point while you're in Teams. Okay, so by opening the Huddo Boards app here, I'm coming to what we call the My Boards dashboard. And you can think of this like your home page where you have access to any of the boards that you create, that you've been invited to, that are public within your organization, or that you're no longer using and that you've archived. So let's get started first by creating our board. So I'm going to come to this big Create button. In the Create Board dialog, we've got some options to choose from. Simple templates like the classic is to do, doing, done, with our lists already set up, meetings, weekdays, and you're seeing that I'm getting a preview here as I click along. I can even come and look for some templates that are public within my organization. They might be my own personal templates, and you can also explore the template library if you want to have a look first at what that board looks like before selecting it. So for this use case, I'm going to select blank to get started, And I'm going to stay in the Kanban view to get things going. I'll press next. So I'm going to give my my board a name. I'm going to call it Product Improvement Board. Here I've got the option to add in team members right now. I'm going to save this for later because I'm going to show you how this will work really nicely with our second point of integration into Microsoft Teams. But at any point you can always add additional team members to your board. So I'm going to press save right now. So in this board, I've got my board name at the top. I've got my lists at the moment. This board is blank. As you saw, I'm starting from scratch. So I'm going to add some names to my lists to get it started. So we'll call this backlog. And you can just see that I've added in a couple of these lists. I might come back and refine these a little bit later as my board progresses. And you can do that at any point just by clicking in to update. So from here, we've got our lists at the top, which are defining sort of what stage our cards or our tasks will be at. And here I'll start to add in some cards. So one might be guidelines on using this board. I'm going to put this as an entry because it's not something that I need to tick off, but I'm going to put some links in here how I'd like this board to be used. And pressing enter automatically has created this card as a task. So a task is a card that has a tick box. An entry is a card that does not have a tick box. So you can decide which of these you like to use. You've seen how quick it is to start a new board. This board is actually relevant to one of my Microsoft teams, so I'm going to go to that team now to add the board to it and keep working on it with my colleagues. So to add a board to your Microsoft team, I just need to come up to this little tab here at the top. And if you can search Huddo Boards, I can see that it's come up straight away for me. And from here, I'm going to have a couple of different options. I can show all of the boards for this team, so the boards that are associated with this team. I can create a new board from scratch, or I can display an existing board. So I would come in here and select one of my boards here. I can choose the tab name as well, and then I'd press save. So that will add Huddo Boards as a tab to my team channel. And to help develop our use case, I've already added our board as a tab and I've built it out a little bit. Or as they would say in a cooking show, here's one I prepared earlier. If you're on a laptop, a really great tip for getting a little bit more real estate is to use this little expanded tab, which opens up the main screen a little bit more to give you a little bit more real estate. So you'll see here with some added information, our board is really starting to take shape. So let's work our way from the top down to see what we're looking at. So here at the top, we've got our title of our board, Product Improvement. And if I click on this, I've got the board options, and I've also included a description of how I'd like this board to be used. So coming back to our board, under the title we've got our lists in blue, and our lists can be dragged and dropped around the board as required. So if our organization of the board changes, if we have new developments and we want to reorder the lists, we can do that with the simple drag and drop. So the lists are helping us to categorize the tasks, and in this case we're using to start with requests and backlog to see what our tasks are that are sitting in our backlog. We've got development priorities. So these are the top ticket items as highlighted by the development team. We can see what's in progress, what's been completed, and also what may need review in 3 months' time. The way that you organise your lists will really depend on what sort of project or board that you're working on. So there's no right or wrong way. There's 100 different ways to organise or set up your lists, and some ways might include sprints based on different aspects of a marketing campaign, different business units, different team members, milestones of a project. Pretty much there's no right or wrong way of organising your lists, as long as it works for you and your team members and it helps you organise your tasks and see what you need to see quickly and effectively. So sitting under our lists in blue, we have what are called our cards. And so you saw a quick preview of our cards before. They may be what we call an entry, which is one that doesn't have the tick box. It might be a piece of information, it might hold some guidelines, links to other information or other boards, as this one does here. Or the other option is that you might have a task, so a to-do. So it's something that needs to be ticked off. It needs to be actioned, and you can add as much or as little information into these as you want. So here we can see we've got guided tour planning and development card. We can see that it's got a due date of the 30th of September. It's got some start and end dates, descriptions, links, comments, and I can see that my colleague Andrew and myself have been assigned to this card. It's also got some color labels at the top, and if I drop down this little half arrow here, I can see that we've got subcards as well. So these are tasks that are sitting within this overall parent task. So let's have a look at what this card looks like in detail. So as I mentioned, at the top we've got our title of the card, Guided Tour Planning and Development. I'm just going to update this to call it planning because I think that's enough of a description. So you can see that to edit it, all I did was click in, made a change and press enter. I've got a description here, and I've also got a due date and a start and an end date. Sometimes the end date will be the same as the due date. Other times the end date might come and then your due date might come later. Really depends on what you're working on, what the runtime is, and if there's any space that needs to be put in there for review prior to the official due date. Underneath our dates, we can see that we have assigned members. So I can see that myself and my colleague Andrew Reynolds are assigned to this task, and that can be done at the top here in the assigned members by ticking a box. And anyone who is assigned to a task will receive a notification either in Microsoft Teams, if you have the notifications turned on, or via email to say that you've been assigned to a task. Underneath, I can see that this card has a couple of links included. So one is a bookmark to a website which provides a bit more information, and one is a link through to our OneDrive shared library that is associated with this team to a file. So this is a really handy way. If I come up to the top to attach /link, I can link to a file. And here it's opening the OneDrive shared library associated with this team. And here I can navigate to product improvement. And I can select any of the files that are relevant to this particular task. And this is a great way of being able to control the versions of documents, particularly if you have things like Word documents, Excel, PowerPoint, etc., where team members of a particular board will be editing them. You can select your file in here. If it's one that is something like a Microsoft document, then adding it here, any other members of this team will be able to come in here and open this document, view it, edit it, and return to the board. So it just means that there's no issues in terms of file versions, and you can keep everything that's relevant, all the documents that are relevant here within the board itself. Underneath our files, we have some color labels, which can be assigned here at the top, and we'll talk more about the color labels shortly. It's a simple select on the tick box. You can have multiple color labels, as you can see. And underneath our color labels, we have our subcards. So subcards can be as simple as a checklist within an overall task. So it could be something that we come in here and tick these off quickly before marking the overall task complete, or they may require more steps to be taken. So for example, map out tour, I can see that I've already added in some more information here. And if I click on it, I'm taken through to this main part of the card. I can see that I've got my title, start and an end date. I can also see that I have links and attachments. And I can add in as much information here as required. It really depends on what the subtask is, or subcard is. I can even add additional subcards here if I need to dive deeper into this particular aspect. So coming back to our main card, also on the right hand side I can see that I've got a comments area. So the comments area is fantastic for keeping track of the progress of a task, and I can see here that a couple of days ago I asked my colleague Andrew if this was still on track, and he's saying yes, it's on track for the 27th. So here, using the @ symbol, I can @mention any of my colleagues who are working in this board. And this is a fantastic option for keeping all of the discussion about a particular task or a particular board all in the one place. So rather than sending an email to multiple members of a board or sending multiple emails to colleagues, I can ask questions directly in the board. And it also means that any of this information is available to other team members in this board to see how things are progressing. So just like our lists, our cards can be moved around the board as well. So we can drag and drop these and progress them through our lists as they progress, as work is being completed. So we had a look at how we can assign color labels within a card. The other option also is that we can use the color labels here on the right hand side to drag and drop onto the card itself. So I can pop this one on, and really when we use our color labels, there's no right or wrong way to use these. It really depends again on the project and what sort of categories or statuses that you could use the color labels for to help you give as much information to the cards as possible. So in this case, we're using the color labels to say what the level of priority is, whether it's high, medium or low. We've also got some additional labels in here to say what would be a quick win, something that takes less than 30 minutes. If there is requirement for the customer service manager to feed back to the customer when the task is completed, do we need content developed for socials, and is there more information needed in general? So you can tell that in this board where we have a mix of different you could say different business units working on it, from the CSM to the development team and the marketing team. We're using the color labels for a mix across all of these teams. So it's giving us information about what's the priority based on the development team, what actions are needed from the customer service manager, from the marketing manager, and where is more information needed broadly across any of these tasks. There's 100 different ways to use the color labels, and it really varies on what your project or what your board is. Some other options may include what's been delayed, where you're expecting to have challenges, where you'll need input from external collaborators. There's really no end to the number of or the options that you can have for color labels. It really depends on the project and what will work best for you and your team members in the board. So in terms of what the color labels can also do is that it can help you drill down into important information. It's helping us to find and see the information that's most relevant to us. So if I wanted to see what are just our high priority tasks, clicking the red high color label will show me those. And I can see that we've got 3 high priority tasks that are already in progress, which is fantastic. Above colors, we have the members area. So I can see that a number of tasks have been assigned to myself, and if I wanted to see what those are specifically, I can use the members icon. I can click my own and I can see which tasks that I've been assigned to. Likewise, I can also drag and drop my colleagues' profile icons onto cards as well. So I can assign tasks this way. You also saw that within the card itself we could also select to assign members to a particular task. If I wanted to see multiple people working on a card, I could select myself and my colleague Andrew, and I would be able to drill down to the particular cards that we're working on together and follow up those tasks with him. You can also use a combination of the members and the color labels. So for example, if I want to see what my colleague Nick is working on, and if he has any quick wins that are currently in progress, I can see the icon update card is there. So you've got the option to filter by members and colors here on the right hand side. If you come up to the search bar at the top, we can also click in here and use the color labels at the top or the members. And another fantastic option for filtering is to use the keyword search. So if I look for any cards that have the word integration, I can see that it's already filtered down to 1 card here. If I wanted to get a little bit more information or to drill down specifically and just see this card, I can also have additional options like hide empty lists, which will show me just the 1 list that it's appearing in. So again, lots of options for finding the information that you need, and these are really great if your board starts to grow and become quite big. So that's what I imagine this board is going to be like. Product improvement, it's not something that is over or completed within 1 month. It's ongoing tasks for us as we continue to improve our applications, and it's also something that will get lots of feedback from customers and internally. So this board will go on for weeks, months, maybe even years, depending on how we decide to manage the board and the tasks within it. So using any of these filtering options here or the keyword search can be a good option for finding the information that you're looking for once the board starts to get a little bit bigger. So you saw that we have our members area here on the right hand side. Now when my board was added as a tab in my team, the team members for this particular team were automatically inherited into this board. So if I come into the members area here on the right hand side, I can see that groups that have been added to this board are from my 2021 priority delivery areas team. They've automatically been added here, which is fantastic. So I didn't have to worry about going and adding in additional people. However, if there was someone who was not working in this team that I wanted to add in, I could come in here and search for them within my organization, find them, choose their level of permission. So I'm going to put Jared as a reader, and I can add him as a member. So he'll get an invitation to come into this board, and then I'll be able to assign him tasks or let him know